playing DJT was agony for him. Alex, it was also agony for those who were forced to watch. You were terrible.
Alec Baldwin, whose dying mediocre career was saved by his terrible impersonation of me on SNL, now says playing me was agony. Alec, it was agony for those who were forced to watch.
Reporting that gun was fired at off-the-clock gatherings and that the live ammunition was found in the same area where the blank rounds for the movie were stored.
I gotta say, you playing Trump on Saturday Night Live, we've all loved it. It's fantastic. It is fantastic.
He didn't wear the wig. He didn't do the voice. He didn't need to. Alec Baldwin just called out Donald Trump like never before. No jokes, just facts. Trump's furious meltdown proves one thing. Baldwin struck deep. It was an unexpected moment.
So you can all see why I gotta fake this national emergency, right? I have to because I want to. It's really simple.
The purpose of the event was to raise funds for arts education, and Baldwin had been asked to give a brief speech. Few anticipated more than a few clever comments or maybe a subtle poke at his former Saturday Night Live persona as he entered the stage. Baldwin instead launched into an unrestrained attack on Trump's legacy, temperament, and influence on American culture. Baldwin asserted that Donald Trump is more than just a disgraced former president and a failed businessman. He is a living example of all the corruption, conceit, and cowardice that plague our politics.
Trump, he'll sit there and go, these people, they're great people, they're fantastic people, and I just want to say working with them was...
As Baldwin said each syllable with icy accuracy, the room fell silent. This man couldn't handle losing, so he tried to burn down our democracy, he added. And rather than paying for it, he's back on stage pleading for authority like a man who has never heard of consequences. The ensuing cheering was loud, emotive, and thundering, and it wasn't limited to coastal elites or Hollywood insiders. Clips of the speech started making the rounds on the internet within minutes. On X, previously Twitter, the hashtags #BaldwinBomb and #TrumpMeltdown started to trend.
Well, the interesting thing is nobody's actually forced to watch. I found that out. We don't force anyone to watch.
You're choosing to watch.
The video was shared by celebrities, activists, and regular people who praised Baldwin's speech as brave, electrifying, and long overdue. However, not everybody was impressed. Trump exploded, as was to be expected. Several people close to the former president said that when the clip aired, he was at Mar-a-Lago watching cable news. Trump was allegedly yelling loud enough to be heard down the hall and visibly red in the face, according to one assistant.
Playing DJT was agony for him. Alex, it was also agony for those who were forced to watch. You were terrible.
And he's got his phone and he's watching the news and he's in his, in his boxers and his bathrobe and he's like tweeting.
Within an hour, Trump posted an angry remark on Truth Social saying, Alec Baldwin, the worst actor in history and a complete loser, just embarrassed himself again. He was never humorous or talented, and now he's criticizing me in an attempt to remain relevant. Sad.
Alex Baldwin, whose dying, mediocre career was saved by his impersonation of me on SNL.
What was your whole gag? And you know as well as I do, because you're very funny, that you can kind of suggest the voice or suggest the way they look, but you got to try to think of who he is.
The tirade, however, didn't stop there. Trump demanded legal action against slanderous Hollywood elites who spread fake news and accused Baldwin of pushing lies.
We need wall, okay? We have a tremendous amount of drugs flowing into this country.
Even long-standing Trump supporters were taken aback by how shaken the former president seemed, even though it was the kind of retribution that many had anticipated. It's uncommon to see him this reactive over something from an actor, said one GOP insider who asked not to be named. It obviously touched a nerve. Baldwin answered without hesitation. If the truth shakes a man to his core, maybe he should take a hard look in the mirror, Trump said in a video he posted to Instagram hours after his post.
Alec Baldwin, whose dying mediocre career was saved by his terrible impersonation of me on SNL, now says playing me was agony. Alec, it was agony for those who were forced to watch.
I'm not finished yet. Not even close. Baldwin quietly addressed the camera in the brief but very serious video, challenging Trump to continue the battle. Trump and Baldwin have a history of disagreement. For years, Baldwin played the iconic role of Trump on Saturday Night Live, garnering both Emmys and Trump's public outrage. However, things were different this time. It was a direct, unscripted call-out without any makeup, a punchline, or audience laughter. And that's probably why it had such an effect.
I gotta say, you playing Trump on Saturday Night Live, we've all loved it. It's fantastic. It is fantastic.
Baldwin's address, according to political commentators, comes at a crucial time. Public perception is shifting as a result of Trump's numerous legal battles, which include civil lawsuits and criminal prosecutions.
You tweeted back, agony though it may be, I'd like to hang in there, at least for the impeachment hearings, the resignation speech, the farewell helicopter ride to Mar-a-Lago.
Regarding whether Trump is deserving of another term, many Americans remain undecided. However, times like these, when powerful people are open and honest, might help shift that equilibrium. One analyst said, Baldwin might have done what no politician has. He spoke to the man and dispelled the myth, and he did it fearlessly. Of course, Baldwin is not a hero to everyone. The actor has come under fire from conservative media, which have referred to him as a Hollywood elitist with no moral authority, and brought up his personal scandals, such as the devastating shooting on the Rust set in 2021.
Reporting that gun was fired at off-the-clock gatherings and that the live ammunition was found in the same area where the blank rounds for the movie were stored.
Prosecutors brought felony involuntary manslaughter charges against Alec Baldwin after the fatal shooting of cinematographer.
Fox News hosts questioned if it was appropriate for someone who was under legal examination to criticize others. Baldwin's followers, however, retaliated, arguing that having the guts to hold Trump accountable should be enough.
The troubling details emerging now in the tragic shooting by Alec Baldwin on his New Mexico film set.
Although divided, the public's response has been unquestionably strong. Baldwin went too far, according to some. Others claim that he finally expressed what many people are scared to say. In any case, there is no denying the cultural influence. In only 2 minutes, Baldwin sparked a national dialogue about the perils of being silent in the face of political turmoil, in addition to Trump.
Asked President Xi if they had a problem in China, but he said, no, me no like does better with the voice, I think, I must say.
The battle lines are now established, with Baldwin refusing to back down, the media roaring, and Trump furious. It remains to be seen if this moment develops into something more significant. But for now, Alec Baldwin has demonstrated that occasionally 2 minutes of unvarnished truth can upend the system in a world full of sound bites and spin.